Hey there, CoinBlock family. Welcome back to the channel. Today is January 26th, 2026. You know, looking back over the turbulent years we've survived in the crypto market, there is one question that just refuses to die. What on earth is the actual difference between Ripple and Stellar? A lot of people still lump these two together as crypto brothers or just those fast payment coins. But today, we are going to completely shatter that perspective. We aren't going to talk about candlestick charts or price predictions today. Instead, we are going to pop the hood of the global financial machine and look at the blueprints. We need to understand exactly what kind of components Ripple, XRP, and Stellar, XLM, are, and how they fit into this massive engine. If you are curious about how the actual plumbing of future finance is being laid down, and if you want to position your portfolio right where the money is going to flow, you need to stay glued to the screen until the very end. Let's get right into it. To truly get Ripple and Stellar, you have to trash the idea that they're both just remittance coins. Sure, they move money, but their end goals are worlds apart. Let me give you an analogy to make this stick. Think of Ripple as the standard shipping container system that connects every major port and logistics center in the world. On the other hand, think of Stellar as a magic universal travel card sitting right there in your pocket. Let's dive deep into Ripple first. Ripple's core tech, the Interledger Protocol, or ILP, isn't actually a blockchain. It's a communication language. Think about email. You might use Gmail and your friend uses Yahoo. They're different servers, but the email still goes through perfectly because of a standard called SMTP. Ripple's ILP is literally the SMTP for the banking world. See, traditional banks operate on closed ledgers. Bank of America's ledger doesn't talk to Deutsche Bank's ledger. In the past, we used Swift, which is basically just a messy messaging app saying, hey, I sent the money, but the actual settlement took days. Ripple doesn't tell banks, hey, delete your system and use ours. No, they say, keep your ledger, just use our container spec, ILP, and we can connect you to any other bank in real time. The secret sauce here is something called HTLC, or Hashed Time Lock Contract. Think of this as a digital escrow vault. If Bank A sends cash to Bank B, you don't want that money disappearing in transit. HTLC ensures the vault door only opens when both ledgers confirm everything is perfect. It completely eliminates the risk of money vanishing into thin air. Now, since we're in 2026, we have to talk about the RLN, the Regulated Liability Network. Huge players like Citi and HSBC have been pushing this shared ledger network. By integrating with Ripple's tech, this has become the superhighway for bank deposits and central bank CBDCs to cross borders. Ripple is strictly B2B. It's the massive sewage and water pipes deep under the city that you never see. And XRP, that's just the fluid that keeps the pressure regulated and the flow moving instantly. So, what about Stellar Lumens? If Ripple is the underground pipe, Stellar is the flashy, bustling marketplace right in front of your eyes. The Stellar network is actually a giant decentralized exchange, or SDX, baked right into the code. Remember I called it the magic universal travel card. Imagine you're traveling abroad and you want to buy a coffee. You only have US dollars in your wallet. Usually you'd need a currency exchange booth. But on the Stellar network, the moment you hand over your dollars, the system kicks in. It uses a tech called path payment. It's like Google Maps for money. You pay in dollars, and in 3 seconds, the system scans the entire global order book. It asks, is it cheaper to swap dollars directly to euros, or maybe dollars to yen then to euros? It calculates the most profitable route instantly and lands the correct currency in the merchant's pocket. The crazy part is that this is atomic. That means the transaction either happens perfectly or it never happened at all. You never get stuck in that limbo of, I paid, but you didn't get it. And with the full integration of Soraban, Stellar's smart contract platform that really took off back in 2024, Stellar got a massive upgrade. It went from just moving money to programming complex financial products. This is exactly why we saw giants like BlackRock and Franklin Templeton double down on Stellar through 2025 and 2026. Why? Because if you want to tokenize real-world assets like stocks, bonds, or real estate and pay out dividends in 1 second, there is no market more efficient than Stellar. Ripple moves the heavy containers. Stellar is innovating retail finance where you can buy a sliver of Apple stock or gold as easily as sending a text. So, let's wrap up the future view right here in January 2026. Remember the Genius Act that passed back in July 2025? That clarity on digital assets caused the stablecoin market to explode. Thanks to that, stablecoins running on Stellar are now basically the standard for peer-to-peer payments, almost indistinguishable from cash. Meanwhile, Ripple cleared its legal hurdles with the SEC long ago, officially classifying XRP as a commodity, which opened the floodgates for conservative institutions to finally jump in. Here is the conclusion for your investment strategy. You need to separate these clearly. Ripple XRP is a play on how many governments and banks use this highway for massive wholesale liquidity. It's about the hegemony of institutional finance. Stellar XLM is a play on how many assets, stocks, forex, and real estate get tokenized and traded by individuals. It's about retail adoption and financial inclusion. They aren't really competitors. They're two different puzzle pieces completing the picture of future finance. One is the infrastructure, the other is the interface. If you keep this distinction in mind, the difference between the pipes and the marketplace, you won't get shaken out by the news cycle. Ripple connects, Stellar converts. Remember that difference. If you got value from this, smash that subscribe and like button. CoinBlaw is always here to give you the sharpest facts for your portfolio. Thanks for watching.